It started in the summer of 1991, late July, hot enough that you could not walk barefoot on the dirt roads around Window Rock. Mason and his younger brother Kent were staying with their grandparents for 2 weeks while their parents took what their father called a much-needed vacation. Kent was 8 years old then, all knobby knees and questions following Mason around like a shadow. Most of the time, it annoyed him. But at their grandparents' house, Mason did not mind as much. The place felt too big at night, with more dark corners and creaky boards than he cared for. Their grandfather did not tell stories the way other people did. He would mention things in passing, dropping pieces of information while doing something else, fixing a fence or working on his truck or cleaning his rifle. That particular day, he was skinning a rabbit he had shot that morning. Mason sat on an overturned bucket watching him work. Kent was inside with their grandmother, supposedly helping her make fry bread. Grandfather made a precise cut, peeling back the hide. His hands never shook, even well into his 70s. "You know why we don't whistle at night?" he asked. Mason shook his head. "Whistling calls things that listen." He kept working, not looking up. "Most of the time, nothing answers, but sometimes something does." He told Mason about a man from Chinle, a long time ago, before the long walk, maybe before that. This man wanted power, wanted to live forever, to do things normal people cannot do. So he learned the dark way, killed his own brother to do it, wore his skin until it became his own. After that, he could wear anything's skin. Coyote, owl, deer, even other people. Mason's mouth went dry. "Did they catch him?" he asked. "No." Grandfather finally looked at him. "Things like that you don't catch. You avoid them. You don't say their name. You don't whistle at night. You keep your windows closed and your doors locked. And you never invite something inside." He paused. "And if you see something that doesn't move right, that doesn't sound right, even if it looks like someone you know, you run. You understand me?" "Yes, sir." "I mean it, Mason. You see your brother, your mother, your father, and something feels wrong, you run, because it's not them anymore." He went back to the rabbit. They did not talk about it again that day. That night, Mason lay awake in the small bedroom he shared with Kent, listening to every creak and groan of the house. The window was open. It was too hot to close it. He stared at the gap in the curtains, afraid of what he might see looking back. Kent slept in the other bed, breathing steadily. Then something scratched at the window's screen. Mason went rigid. The scratching came again, like nails dragging across metal mesh. Testing it. Then it stopped. Breathing came from the other side of the screen, heavy and wet, like a dog that had been running, but it did not sound like a dog. Mason wanted to get up and close the window, but he could not make himself move. The breathing continued for what felt like hours, though it may have been only minutes. Then there were footsteps padding away through the dirt. Mason pulled the covers over his head and prayed until sleep finally took him. The following night, it came back around the same time. He had been watching the clock. 2:47 in the morning. The scratching was now louder, more persistent. A smell came with it, seeping through the screen. Roadkill left too long in the summer sun. Kent stirred. "Mason, what's that smell? Go back to sleep. Is someone outside? Just go back to sleep." The scratching stopped. Then came a voice. "Let me in." It sounded like their grandmother, but not quite. Mason flew out of bed and slammed the window shut, locking it. Whatever was outside made a sound, not quite a laugh and not quite a growl. Then it moved away. In the morning, there were claw marks on the screen, deep ones, like something had tried to tear through. The frame was bent where something had pushed against it. Grandfather saw it when he came to wake them. He said nothing. He got his tools and replaced the screen. That night and every night after, the windows stayed closed. He burned sage in their room and left a line of ash on the windowsill. A couple nights later, they heard it walking on the roof. Heavy footsteps, too heavy for any animal that had a reason to be up there. It stopped directly above their room. Kent was crying quietly in his bed, trying not to make a sound. Mason could not move, could not speak. They lay there listening to it pace back and forth until sunrise. In the morning, Grandfather found tracks in the dirt around the house. He would not say what kind. He spent the day making protection bundles and hanging them above every door and window. Whatever it was, it did not come back, not to that house. 3 weeks later, their dog went missing. His name was Checkers, a mutt they had had since Mason was 6. Black and white patches, floppy ears, the kind of dog that never met a person he did not love. Kent had picked him out from a litter at the pound. Checkers slept in Mason's room, followed him everywhere, and would steal food right off your plate if you weren't watching. He disappeared on a Tuesday night. Their father let him out to pee around 9 o'clock, then went back inside to watch TV. About 15 minutes later, he went to call him back in. Checkers did not come. Their father grabbed a flashlight and searched the yard, his voice carrying through the neighborhood, getting more concerned with every pass. After 20 minutes, he came back inside. He must have gotten out somewhere, found a gap in the fence. But Mason had been playing in the backyard that afternoon. He never found a gap. They spent the next 3 hours searching the neighborhood. Their mother drove slowly through the streets while Mason and Kent called out the windows. Their father walked with his flashlight, checking under cars and bushes. Neighbors came out to help. Someone 2 houses down said he had seen Checkers around 9:15, sniffing near some garbage cans. After that, nothing. The next day, they made flyers. Their mother drove them to Kinko's and printed out 50 copies with Checkers' picture. The one from the previous Christmas where Kent had put a Santa hat on him. Missing dog, family pet, reward, phone number on the bottom. They spent the afternoon stapling them to telephone poles, stop signs, the grocery store bulletin board, and the vet's office. Kent knocked on every door while Mason stood behind him. His voice would crack when he described Checkers. He was trying so hard to be brave. "He's really friendly," Kent would say. "He won't bite or anything. If you see him, could you call us, please?" An old woman promised to keep an eye out. Teenagers at the corner house barely looked up from their video games. One kind woman gave them cookies and promised to check her shed. Days passed. Every time the phone rang, Mason ran for it. It was never about Checkers. By the 4th day, even their mother stopped saying he would come back on his own. Kent barely ate. He sat by the back door after school, watching. Mason caught him leaving bits of his sandwich on the porch. "He'll smell it," Kent said when he saw Mason watching. "He'll know we're waiting for him." A week went by. The flyers started to fade in the sun. Their mother gently suggested maybe visiting the pound, looking at puppies that needed homes. Kent ran to his room and slammed the door. The sound of sobbing came through the walls. Then came the false hope. Someone called on day 10, saying she had seen a black and white dog at the park. They ran there, Kent still in his pajamas, but it was someone else's dog. A female with different markings. Kent's face, when he realized it was not Checkers, was something Mason never forgot. It looked like something broke inside him. 12 days after Checkers disappeared, he came back. Mason found him early in the morning. Barely any light outside. He had gotten up to use the bathroom and happened to glance out the living room window, and there was Checkers, sitting on the front porch, staring at the door. He should have been happy. He should have run to let him inside, but he did not move. Something was wrong. Checkers was sitting perfectly still, like a statue. Dogs like Checkers did not sit that still. Checkers could not hold still if you paid him to, and his mouth was closed. No panting. It was already hot outside, and the dog just sat there with his mouth closed, watching the door. His coat was perfect, groomed even. A dog missing for 12 days should have been dirty, matted, maybe skinnier. Checkers was cleaner than the day he had left. Mason stood at the window for a long time. The dog did not move, did not scratch at the door, did not whine. He sat there staring, occasionally tilting his head as if curious. Then their mother came downstairs. "Mason, what are you doing up now? Checkers is back." She rushed to the window, made a happy sound, and headed for the door. Mason grabbed her arm. "Wait, what? Honey, he's been gone almost 2 weeks." The dog stood up. The way it moved was wrong. It was difficult to explain, but it looked like a puppeteer handling a large puppet. His back legs locked, then his front legs, and he levered himself upright instead of simply standing the way dogs stand. Their mother hesitated. The dog's head swiveled toward her. Not turned, swiveled. And its eyes were wrong. Dog's eyes catch the light. Checker's eyes that morning were flat black. Their mother opened the door. "Mom, don't!" She was already reaching for him. Her hand touched his head, then it moved. It was faster than Checkers had ever moved in his life. It snapped at her, teeth clicking together an inch from her fingers. She jerked back with a yelp. Their father's voice came from the stairs. Back up from the door, now. Their mother stumbled back. The thing that looked like Checkers stepped forward, crossing the threshold into the house. Its mouth opened wide, and the sound that came from a dog should never have come from a dog. It sounded like Mason's name. Their father grabbed the bat he kept by the front door. "Get out!" The Checkers thing tilted its head. Its mouth closed. For a second, it almost looked like their dog again. Then it turned and walked off the porch, unhurried, casual. It stopped at the edge of the yard, and then it tried to stand up, like a person. On its hind legs, it got about halfway, front paws hanging down, wobbling like it was trying to remember how to balance. It held that position for about 3 seconds, this horrific half-standing shape, before dropping back to all fours. Then it ran. Normal dog running. It cleared the neighbor's fence in one bound and disappeared between the houses. The three of them stood in the doorway and said nothing. Kent appeared a minute later, rubbing sleep from his eyes. "Was that Checkers?" "No," Mason said. "That wasn't Checkers." Their father looked from Mason to his parents. His face crumbled, but it looked like him. "It wasn't him," their father said firmly. "Checkers is gone, buddy. That was something else." Their father called grandfather that morning. They talked for an hour in the kitchen. Mason could hear his father's voice getting louder and more agitated through the wall. Their mother kept Mason and Kent in the living room with cartoons on the television. Nobody was watching it. That night, they stayed at a Holiday Inn by the highway. Their father got a room with 2 beds and a pull-out couch. We ordered pizza, but nobody ate much. Their father kept checking the locks on the door. Their mother held Kent while he cried. Mason sat by the window and watched the parking lot. Grandfather arrived the next morning with herbs Mason did not recognize, small bundles wrapped in cloth, and a jar of something that looked like ash mixed with dirt. They went back to the house. Their father went in first, checking every room while the others waited in the car. When he gave the all clear, Grandfather got to work. He went through the house room by room, marking door frames and window sills, burning dried plants that filled the air with thick smoke. Their mother opened all the windows to air it out, but the smell lingered for days. When Grandfather finished, he sat all of them down in the living room. "Whatever came to your door yesterday, it's gone now. It won't come back. But you need to understand something." He looked at each of them in turn. "That was not your dog. Your dog died out there somewhere, and something else is wearing its skin. Maybe it's been wearing that skin for days. Maybe it was waiting for the right time to come back, but it's not Checkers. Checkers is gone." Even their mother cried then. There are things out there, old things that learned dark medicine a long time ago and wear animal skins and become those animals. Some of them wear human skin too. They're drawn to weakness, grief, fear. That's when they're most dangerous. "Why did it come here?" their father asked. "I don't know. Maybe it was hungry, maybe it was curious, maybe something drew it." He paused, but it said Mason's name. That means it was watching and learning. If I had not come, if you had let it stay, it would have tried again, and eventually you would have let it in. "How do you know?" Mason asked. "Because that is what they do. They wait and they watch and they learn how to be what you want them to be. And then, when you're not paying attention, that's when they take you. That night, their parents sat in the kitchen and talked until almost midnight. Mason caught pieces through the wall. Can't be real, we all saw it. Rational explanation, it tried to stand up like a man. Should be scared. I'm scared. In the end, they decided not to talk about it anymore, to pretend it never happened, to tell people Checkers had been hit by a car if anyone asked about the flyers. They burned Checkers' collar in the backyard that night. Grandfather said that part was important. They needed to let go completely. Kent cried. Mason did not. He had already said goodbye to the real Checkers days ago.